Do you remember what occurred on May 25th, 2020? You know, some memories are etched in our minds, and we remember exactly where we were, exactly how we felt. And on that day, a white police officer held his knee over the neck of George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man from Minneapolis, for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, killing him. And all this because a store clerk suspected that Floyd had used a counterfeit $20 bill. I mean, think about it. Killed over a suspected $20 bill. It's hard to believe. I remember this day vividly, and many days before and since, where people of color were murdered for equally senseless reasons. And as a mixed race woman myself, born to a single white mother and black father in Michigan, I've experienced discrimination throughout my life. Now, when George Floyd died, I was working at Amazon, and I was leading the largest safety organization in the world. I had 3,500 team members. We supported over 800,000 associates in 278 plus fulfillment centers across the United States and Canada. And I was already actively engaged in driving conversations on race and ethnicity. And I was striving to implement representation at every level within the organization. But when this happened, when George Floyd was killed, it just lit a fire under me, and I said, this just isn't enough, and it is certainly not fast enough. And you know, I think I felt this because I've always believed that I needed to, that I really had the responsibility to act upon what I value. And I value people, all people from all walks of life. And throughout my life, I've often been the only one, the one of a handful, or the first one. And I have always felt that I needed to prove that I earned every role that I was in based on my results, so that it could never be said that I was in a role because I was the black woman, the veteran, or whatever other label there might be. And you know, these issues like this persist today. Just look at presidential candidate Kamala Harris. She's been called a DEI hire, for goodness sake. I mean, rather than looking at all of her credentials and her accomplishments and her qualifications. Now, when George Floyd died, I remember receiving countless messages from my team members expressing their pain and expressing their frustration that nothing ever changes. And I felt the same way. And I remember sending an email out, sharing with my team how I felt, encouraging them not to lose hope and to not be silent. But you know, an email's not enough. Emails are too easy. And they're often fraught with a thoughtless, thoughts and prayers, and who knows how many of the emails actually go unread. And so I remember I walked out on my patio, and I was pacing around my pavilion, what I often did, when I was in deep thinking. And I thought, Marla, you've got to answer these cries, and you have to do something. And I decided that I was going to take action, and I thought, what I do needs a title. And so I came up with #LeadersTakeAction. And I decided right then that I would take an entire day of work to focus just on doing. So I immediately called my human resources business partner, shared the plan, and we contacted over 40 leaders within our organization, inviting them to join this initiative. And we spoke with each one of them personally. Now, when we started this day of doing, we started it with reflection and then some profound questions. And the first question we asked was, how many times have you been interviewed by someone who looks like you? For me, it's still never. The next question was, how many teachers or professors have you had that looked like you? Gosh, K through PhD, and not one for me. The responses were profound, and they were eye-opening. And most of them were like mine, with the exception of a few that said, well, Marla, you actually interviewed me when I was joining Amazon. Well, we ended that day with creating a comprehensive diversity strategy detailing what we were going to do to change how we recruited, interviewed, hired, and developed diverse talent. We shared this white paper with the Vice President of Workplace Health and Safety for all of Amazon. And this paper became the foundation for the Workplace Health and Safety Organization's diversity strategy. And I'll never forget one conversation. I was all excited to go talk to the recruiters and share with them, look, this is what we've got as our goals for interviewing, recruiting. Look at what we're going to do. And then I said, and we need to actually track our, our contacts in our interviews. And one of them said, well, wait, Marla, we're going to have to lower our standards. What? I was shocked first, and then I was livid. And I said, absolutely not. We will never lower our standards. We will widen our net. And I said, you'll work differently. You'll leverage the hashtag Leaders Take Action team. And I shared with them that I would help them, that with my help, there was no doubt that this would happen. And I was excited, and I said to them, I said, you know what? By the end of the year, all other recruiting teams are going to come to you, and they're going to say, how did you do that? And they were skeptical. But I was determined. I even said, I will give you 10 diverse candidates from my own personal network, and I did that within 3 days. And we had other challenges. One of the recruiting members actually reported me for being a racist and saying that I was not inclusive of white people. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. My mother's white, half my family's white, and I'm half white. And so I restated all of everything that I had said before. And I also shared that was the exact reason that I always have my human resources business partner with me for any conversation like that, to prevent that very type of misinterpretation. Now, these actions that we took led to significant changes. We completely increased our talent pool, our diverse talent pool, and we did not lower a single standard. We ensured that every single interview had full representation. We increased the number of interviewers by leveraging the hashtag Leaders Take Action team. And most importantly, we changed the faces of our organization. And by the end of the year, the recruiting team had changed their practices, and they were proud to share what they had accomplished. And you know what? All the other recruiting teams came and said, how did you do that? Please show us how. Just like I said. And I have this deep belief within me that we can all make an impact, but it's a choice. It's not easy. Sometimes people will doubt you. Sometimes they'll misinterpret you. But you can't leave it there. You can't stop there. And I urge each of you here, dig deep inside yourself and ask, what do I stand for? Or what do you want to stand for? And then stand up and do something. And be that change that you want to see in the world, and teach others to do the same in the process. And driving change, diversity, and inclusion is not about just sending emails or making statements. It's about taking concrete actions. It's about expanding our networks. It's about being relentless for continuous progress. And what it's not about waiting for formal initiatives or permission. And my experience has shown me that when you commit to action, you can create ripples of change that extend far beyond your immediate sphere of influence. And you can inspire others, you can change systems, and ultimately, you can create a more inclusive environment for everyone. And now I've spoken to you for just around 9 minutes and 29 seconds. And I have a challenge for you. What will you do to make a difference? How will you use your position, your influence, and your voice to make an impact? And please ask yourselves, if not me, who? And if not now, when? Thank you.